Big shout out to everyone that's locked in right now. This is your boy Firahs. This is the Street Sessions of World FM 90.4. And also, for the very first time, I will be putting one of my interviews on my podcast. This will be the first ever interview that you'll also be able to hear on the podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying that, giving you guys content like we do. But listen, we've got one of Birmingham's finest. And right now, he's actually chilling in Toronto as well. So we might even be saying we've got international's most finest coming out very soon in your streets. We got Vincent Darby, man. How you feeling, brother?
Good, man. I'm good. How are you, brother?
Nah, I'm good, man. Obviously, it's a bit cold down here, so I don't know how it is down for you lot in Toronto, but it's cold here.
Yo,
the weather nice down.
You know something? So I literally flew up from New York this morning, and in New York it was all right, and I've got here and there's snow everywhere. I'm looking at my window. No, but it's actually quite warm. It's weirdly like warm. Yeah. It's strange.
That's mad. Hey, listen, Christmas came early apparently on websites.
Early or late, it's one or the other.
No, trust me. Now, for obviously people who don't know who you are, like, obviously I see that you are from Birmingham. I read a lot that, you know, Jamaican heritage is something that's very important to you as well. So I want to start with, you know, just growing up in Birmingham. How was that for you?
You know what? It was great. I loved it. I think Birmingham is such an incredible place to grow up because it is just a big melting pot of culture. Like, I think that so many different, like, walks of life that meet in the middle in Birmingham, and like you get to, you know, really experience so much, and it's so as well, which is nice. Like it's one of them ones where, like, don't get me wrong, where I grew up like in a smaller town, like on the suburbs, everyone kind of knows everyone, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's like once you come and then it's like everybody's like the culture is very similar, like, and it's so nice. I loved it, man, growing up there, and I think it really shaped me into the person I am today. Like, for real.
Like, it's interesting, right? Because I think people get so used to just the basics of like London, especially when they talk music. They always say London is the place to be, but Birmingham recently, I wouldn't even say recently, I'll say maybe within the last 10 years, there's been a lot of noise in Birmingham. Has that been something that's also inspired you musically, like just seeing Birmingham scene grow into the stage now where it is one of those places, if you're touring, you have to be in Birmingham?
Yeah, no, it's great, man. It is great. Like, I think, as you say, like, there's been so much music that's come out of the city, and it's been so good as like a proud Brummie see that, like, and just see like my people winning. You know what I mean? It's been real good. Like, there's so much, like, the range of music as well that's come out of the city, like, as of late, it's incredible, man. Like, you know, you've got a lot of like rap that's out of the city, which is doing well. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know she's Leicester, but like Mahalia, for example, like, we went to school together in the city centre, and it's like like accept. You know, like, it's incredible, and it does. It's a proper influence, man. Proper, like, seeing everybody like do what they do, and then more than anything, seeing the fact that people can come from where I come from and absolutely dominate. That's the thing that's been like the.
I think it's a testament. I think you're one of the testaments as well, because even when I look at what you're doing musically, right, you give off me an artist that, like, you definitely showcase where you come from, because I think a lot of musicians they try to hide their accents, whether they're from Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield, to mold into a more London sounding accent, right? And I think what I like about you is, especially, that's the first thing I said when I heard your song like last week. I was like, oh, I can hear it from Birmingham, you know, I can hear it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a testament to what you're doing as well. Like, you're showing people that are coming up that, hey, I'm from Birmingham, I can use my accent and I still make great music. Is that something that's important to you as well? You know, music, showcasing your heritage, because there was one quote that I really liked, where you said, it just reminds me that it just reminds me that with work and commitment and the kind of spirit they showed, you can make great things happen and create something from almost nothing. That was you talking about your grandparents. Talk to me a little bit about that, like the importance of, you know, your Jamaican heritage and what your grandparents did for you to influence who you are today.
Well, my grandparents, yeah, as you said there, they really started everything from nothing. So my grandfather, he was the eldest of 13. He was the first one to come over from Jamaica to Birmingham. Well, yeah, to Birmingham. He was the first one, and you know, like he really, really wanted to make sure that whatever he did would really solidify something for all of us. And he was. And it's incredible, like seeing what he came from. So, like, so I've been back to where my granddad like grew up and everything in St. Mary in Jamaica, and it's man, yo, it's rural. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say it's country. It's country enough. You know what I'm saying? In like where he come from, where he grew up, and knowing the kind of life that he would have led, and my grandmother as well. Grandmother's the same. Like she's country. She one road in, one road out, one little village. You know what I'm saying? She was in the nowhere, and it's like seeing what they've like created for themselves. It's incredible, man. Like it still really is incredible. Something that's rubbed off on all of the members of my family. Like we've all really seen that. You know what? Hard work will be testimony to where you want to be, and it's if you're willing to put in, if you're willing to put the effort in, if you're willing to do what you need to do, you will end up where you want to be. And like right now, in this very moment in time, I'm stood here in just getting off a flight from New York because I'm doing that. And it's like seeing the fact that, you know, knowing that you don't have to have like these, you don't have to like springboard onto that platform, or you don't have to like miss steps. You can work to get to where you want to be. And seeing both my grandparents do that, and like knowing the hardships that they had to try and literally just to even get to where they were, it's incredible. It really is. And just knowing exactly what they did. And like, for example, like he went back to, I think he got his degree in like business when he was like in his like late 30s or 40s or something. And it's like it shows that you don't have to start like when everybody else is doing it. You don't have to follow the same path everybody else is doing. There is a path for each and every us, and all we've got to do is follow the path that we're supposed to walk on. And and it's incredible. And I would never, ever, ever have even thought of doing that had I not grown up seeing that, and not grown up being exposed to that and being told the stories of that, and seeing how they went from literally nothing to everything they've managed, you know, like to obviously raise my mom and my uncle and my auntie, and then like where all of my cousins are at, like because we're all on our like all of my family, like we're all in our own way we're selling, and that's the thing, and that's because we all do the same thing. So it's real. It means a lot, man. It's incredible to have.
No, I think that's beautiful, man. I think one thing I've realized just talking for like 2 minutes is how important like family, heritage, and you know, everything that you've kind of grown, it kind of shows that within who you are as a person. Like when it comes to like your music and stuff like that, do you sometimes share that with your family as well? Bounce ideas together? Is that something that you do with your family as well?
I mean, I do and I don't. So like I'll definitely show them everything. I show all my family everything. You know what I mean? Like any like big moment that happened, like for example, like when I was BBC Radio 1 and 1 Extras track of the week, we was all around my grandpa, like the whole heap of the family there. And it was just like things like we was all there, and it's just such a motivating moment, because it's like we're so close. We're so close. That again comes from like the whole like the Jamaican heritage. Like we grew up every Sunday without fail. We was around my nan's, rice and peas, the chicken, you know what I'm saying? And like my grandparents reading the newspapers coming around on a Sunday, you know what I'm saying? And we're all sat there old fire. Like you know what I'm saying? It's just the sense of community and family that we had because of what my grandparents like grew up with. it really separated us, man. And like, it again, man, it's testimony to where I am. Like, and family is everything that I really learned from a young age. And it's like, they're the people that will always keep you going. They are literally the fuel in the car. Even in the don't feel like you can go any further. Your family are like, nah, man, you're looking at this the wrong way. Go this angle, and that's why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of them as well. Like, as much as I want to say, yeah, I got here by myself, I wouldn't have got here with. You know what I mean? Like, I really wouldn't have. That I've done with them, like screaming in the crowd and anything that I do, them like just gassing up the thing. It's just like they're the most me, like they really are. All of my family, like every single member, mean everything to me.
No, I respect her, man. One thing I'll definitely say, never lose that family togetherness and heritage, man, because a lot of times, like, especially when I speak to artists as well, a lot of them be telling me about beefs here and there, or just, like politics within the family, innit? So I love it when I see this kind of energy, like like this, that bubbly, I see you smiling as well. You're talking about, like, it's proper, innit? So I respect that still, man. Big salute, bro. Talking of hard work as well, though. Breakout single Baby OI, big tune. That's what kind of put you on the map, right? How did you know at the time that this was the one that I should put out?
You know what? So Baby OI, let me tell you the story about that one. So what it was, funnily enough, so I do a lot of work over here in Toronto. I do a lot of work over here. I think that for me, like, don't get me wrong, like I take all my inspiration from Birmingham, but there's something about the sound of Toronto that just blends so well with what I do. So it's like, what happened was I literally come off a flight so I was 17 at the time. So I'd flown from London. This was the first time I'd ever traveled by myself. I flew from London to Chicago to Toronto, then got in a car from the airport, 3 hours north to to a cottage. It was -7 degrees, which was just like colder than a freeze. And I was like, this is mad. And then the song literally was the whole thing. I remember shooting it over to my manager. Then my manager rang me up. It was like, at this point, I think we finished the song like 6 a.m. My manager rang me up and was like, yo, this is it. What? He couldn't believe what it was. It was the first thing that we'd done at that moment. And it was like, when you have that moment, when you feel something that's just so right. That's exactly what Baby OI was. Yeah. It was, so we put the song out, and to be honest, everything pre this single, we've never really pushed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't, so organic, we just put it out there, explored a couple options, explored a couple and just saw what would happen. Baby OI caught like that. And the BBC, they was like, yo, this is something. I know I'll never forget it, because I was in London, and what it was, I was doing some interviews, and I had to go and sign up to the Roundhouse to go and like do some stuff for like the round. And the guy who was like my UK rep, he goes to me, he was like, Vinny, email. I'm reading it, and I'm like, hold on, is this a prank? I was like, this can't be real. And I'm seeing like track of the week on BBC. I'm like, what? And then I read again. So this was just BBC West Midlands. And then I read underneath it, and I saw 1X Radio 1. I was like, what? I was like, there's no way. We hadn't done any promotion really with it. And then it was at that point my manager was like, right, shoot a video. Like, we need to get something going with this. And that's literally where it was. It was organic. It was very much the spur of the moment. It was the song that was there in that time. It was the moment that we was all in, because that's kind of how me and my team roll. Like, we're very much moment people. So we'll create something, we'll come back, we'll be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for this moment right now, or this is for that moment, or we'll put that on the burner, or we'll you know what I'm saying? We're very good as a team. And maybe why was just one of them, like, nah. Every single person that was involved, any person that had heard it, any person on the team was like, you know something, this needs to hear this. Like, this was like a song that was like, really, really, to me, it represented everything I was doing in that moment. Like, absolutely everything. and we was like running with it, and that's where it kind of just took off. And then just seeing that happen was just insane, because it was like, even prior to that, Getaway, that was in North America, to be honest, and it was like so organic. Like we didn't genuinely do anything. We just put the song out, and we messaged a couple people being like, oh yeah, this is out. But at this point, I'm trying to think, I was 17, so it was I was still at school, and it was like, if my management team wanted to just make sure that like I finished school, because my mom's Jamaican. She was strict about me finishing school. She said, "No, you want to do, but you're finishing school. You're not finishing school. There's no way that's happening." I'm so grateful for that. Like, I'm so grateful that she did that, because it gave me all the tools that I need for life. Because this is so surreal, like what goes on in this world, that it's like you still need to have life skills. You still need to be prepared for the world. Do you know what I mean? And like, and even just finishing school like was a massive thing. Like, to do that, like just to like get, and then it was like, right, let's go. And it was it really, really was one of the most incredible experiences of my entire life, releasing Baby OI. Just, and you know, growing up, I was British, like growing up hearing Radio 1 like just all the time as a kid, and then hearing yourself on radio is like, what? It doesn't, you can never forget that feeling, trust me. It's insane.
Nah, that's mad, man. Do you know what? I want to ask, before we go into your single, I want to ask, do you think that your, like, obviously your parents being from Jamaica and, you know, telling you that you have to finish school, that kind of patience has helped you with today, that knowing that, like, because you basically had to wait before you could fully 100% grind, has that also, in today, when you're able to 100% grind, allowed you to also have the patience to know, okay, nothing really needs to be rushed. I will get there when I kind of get there.
Yeah, 100%, 150 million%. And I think patience is the most important thing within this industry, because it's so dynamic. And it's like one moment, literally, and it's testimony for literally what's just happened to me over like the last like 3 days. It's like, put it this way, I done a show on Tuesday night at the Rock Hall in New York, in Lower East Side. There was a program director from iHeartRadio. He literally come up to me, tomorrow, I want you to come to the iHeartRadio studio and do something there. And it's like, it was like that. And that's how this industry works. It's like, you have to be so patient, and you have to just wait for opportunity. It's like my management team always, preparation meets opportunity equals success. And it's in that about patience. It's about sitting, not being jittery. It's about not worrying about what else is doing. It's about focusing on what you're doing. And that's exactly, it's been so testament to what I've done. And I put that down to my mom being like, you know what? No, you got to walk through the right channels to get to where you need to be. And you can't jump over nothing. If you're going to climb a ladder, you have to hit every single one of the steps. You can't miss a step on a ladder or you're going to drop. And I'm so grateful for that. Like that lesson in life at a young age.
No, it's funny, isn't it? Because I think social media has made people forget what patience means. I have this conversation, I think, with a lot of people, and you know, TikTok being one of the spearheads of quick success. Obviously Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, they all play a role in, you know, just going viral and having viral moments. Do you think social media is making it a problem for artists to find the motivation to carry on because of this whole numbers thing that kind of goes on right now?
100%. I mean, like, for me, I'll be honest, I'm not, and my whole team know this, I'm not the greatest person when it comes to social media. And I think that's because of the way that I grew up. Like, growing up as a kid, I grew up, mate, I grew up climbing trees, you know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up with an iPad. So for me to wrap my head around the whole technology thing, and like, I know I'm young, but it was never really the life that I led. Like, I was super lucky where So like I grew up on like the outskirts of Birmingham. So like for me, I open my back door and I can hear cows. You know what I'm saying? Like I can hear sheep and stuff. So, I grew up at a slow pace of life, and then I'd go into the city where it was like, yes, 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 let's go, and then I could remove myself, and it was just, and that in itself, man, taught me so much patience. But social media, it's made everyone's attention span so quick, and because when you want something, and like with algorithms, it constantly shows you like where that end goal is, and it just warps your brain into thinking, why am I not there? Why am I not there? Why am I not there? And it was, for me, I was like, I know why I'm not there, because it's not my time. My time will come, and when my time comes, then that's when I will take it that's in my path. But until that moment comes, I'm gonna just keep preparing. I'm gonna keep staying focused, writing. I'm gonna keep practicing. And when my time comes, my time will come, and I will show the world who Vincent is. And my time is right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm doing. I'm showing exactly who Vincent Darby is.
And you know what? Saying that you are showing who Vincent Darby is, this is why we are here. Because, boy, I can't lie. Like, because I listened to your catalogue and I went through all the songs that was out, because I normally do that before I hear the single that I got sent. So I always just go back, all right, let me just hear what he's done first, and then I'll listen to the new single. And boy, like, I just love that little popping R&B feel that you bring. Obviously, the track's called We Could Be, for anybody who don't know. Obviously, if you're listening on radio as it's being replayed, because we're not actually together right now, guys. Just stay tuned. After that, you will hear the single being played as well. And I'm also going to play Baby or Why, because I love to play breakout singles. So you'll be hearing a back-to-back We Could Be and Baby after, so stay locked in for that. But what I want to say, dude, this We Could Be single, it's so dope. The video itself is dope. That studio work with all the lights and the colors and everything that's going on, I think it's crazy. I want to start with that. What's the concept for We Could Be? So how did this start? How did you get the beat? When did the lyrics come from? Tell me everything. How did it start?
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, because honesty is key, I think, in this industry, because I think a lot of people try to put a facade and try and make something of what you're saying, and I'm not that guy. I'd rather be a transporter with people. The thing is, We Could Be, it has its own little story around it. So I've been part of my label now for about, so I signed when I was 15. So I met my manager when I was 10, right?
Yeah.
And in London. So my manager, at the time, he was living in Jamaica. So what happened was he had a show to do in London. He came over, and then he went to Paris. So my manager actually wrote the song. It wasn't me that wrote the song. We Could Be. My manager was. What happened was, we in London, the show that he was supposed to do got cancelled or something. Something happened while he was in London. And then the producers was like, well, since you're in Europe, just come to Paris. Like, come over to Paris and let's make this, cook up, let's see what happens. And then We Could Be. And then there was the people, like the rest of the team, like that are on the label, there was like, yeah, this is good, but it's not right now. It's not the right moment. And then what happened was, during lockdown, so I've been working with a couple people. So I've been working with this one guy from Boston, and then this woman from Manitoba, in Canada. And we'd been writing. Basically, what it was, the weekend had released Dawn FM. And I remember speaking to my manager and being like, oh man, the sonic on this album and just how the album feels was just incredible. And my manager was like, you know something? He was like, you know, when we met, he was like, the first time we met and I went to Paris, I actually wrote a song that was very like, that feels like that. So this was like 2010.
Man.
Like, I wrote this song, and he was like, just listen to it. He sent me the song. I was like, my mind was blown. But I was like, you know what? Let me just tweak it. Let me just make this a little bit more. Let me just do some stuff to it. Let me just, let's see it. And then I listened to it back, and I was like, yeah, this is mine. This belongs to me. And then the fact that he wrote the song literally out of coincidence of the fact that he was only in Europe for a show that fell through, then let me again out of I don't want to say coincidence, but like it was very much a because his show fell through. It was like, oh well, I'm about do you want to come through? That's how it works. To say now, what, 12, 13 years later, the song's now mine after the first time we met. It's very full circle. And it's incredible. And then like my manager, he was like one of the first people that I ever wrote with. And like he really took the like dive into my own like lyricism. So it's like, even though we could be isn't my words, it's like I like to think that my manager has mentored me in a way that we think very similarly and we write very similarly and like see similar accesses. So that's that's why we could be don't feel too far away from everything that I'm doing, because it's like I'm like I like to, you know what I mean? Like he really who I am right now. And then you know, we could be just sat so well with what I was doing, and like it just felt so right. And that's exactly where that's why now the song is here, like mine, and that's why where it's at.
No, I think that's crazy. And you know, one thing that's so sick is not only have basically you and your manager grown together, because obviously if he met you out, I think he said 10, that's mental in itself. And now one of your tunes is actually one of your managers. So it's almost like a brotherhood, fatherhood, whatever you want to call it. I think that's crazy. I think that's mental.
And this is the thing, because one thing that I've always been a very firm believer in is that I like to classify myself as a vocalist more like primarily. And I think my most important job is being able to like be convincing in the way that I'm singing a song to make people believe that every single word that's on that thing comes from my heart. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that's most important to me. And I think there's a difference between just singing a song, and then there's a difference between like embodying a song. And I like to think that I am, you know what I'm saying? I like to think that when I'm singing a song, like I'm talking from a space, I'm singing from a space that's genuine and true. That's where I like to position it. So it's like, that's why like it feels so right, and it feels so, because it's the way that I always been, like in terms of like the way that I sing and the way that I like to perform and the way that I like to express my art.
Yeah. We've got about 6 minutes left. We've got 3 fan questions as well, so I want to add them in. But before we go into that, I do want to talk about the visuals. The visuals are, I think, I love the visuals. And you know, I love visuals that aren't all the same. For a lot of us who are from London, videos are very much too similar. It's just all too much the same. Talk to me about the inspiration behind this music video.
Right, so the video, it's funnily enough, I'm actually right now where I'm actually at the director's other place. So in Toronto. Basically what it was, I went over to his house. His name's Eric. He's not music video in 25 years. So this guy basically just does like high-end tech, like car adverts, oil company adverts, and just high-end adverts. You know what I'm saying? This man has an eye, precision and perfection. He heard the track and was like, yo, this is something that I could work with. He hasn't done a music video in 25 years. So we sat down and we was talking, said, you know what? He goes, the feel that I wanted like kind of get across is like a high-end fragrance advert. So like, you know, like the Paco Rabanne advert where they're all there in the black and white and they're all clicking and doing all of that. That was the kind of concept for what the video was. It was very much just trying to make it as high-end as we could. And it come up so good. And it's like, you see how you're talking about the part with the lights and all of that. So that was shot at a place in Toronto. It's called 2D something another, 2D House. And what it is, it's like a 30-foot screen. So it's a big TV screen basically. So it's like wraps around and then on the top, and it literally you can program on there. So they shot like the Mandalorian there, some Star Wars there, like
that's crazy.
And the lights and the visual and everything, like the way that we did it and the way that Eric saw it was just incredible. You know, like the end and the relationship that I had with Eric, like we just clicked like that. And like it's incredible especially when you're on set, because I hadn't shot a music video 2019, but that was like the most that video there is like the most high-end video I've ever done. Like I've never done nothing like that where I had makeup artists, stylists, people coming up to me with bottles of water with straws in, asking me about room temperature water. Relax, and I'm not that bougie. Like, yo, if it's cold, it's cold. We don't need no temperature on the water. We don't need no room temperature water. Relax, man. As long as it's wet, it's good. You feel me? That's me. And people. So it was like for me being like that, and like having like you know, backup assistants, people like in the background taking pictures, and it was very, I don't want to say overwhelming, but it was like it was like it was a crazy experience. It was an absolutely crazy experience. And the way that the video turned out, I literally remember sitting right in this room, literally like the video, and I watched the first cut. I sat there, I scratched my head, I looked at my manager, I looked at the director, and I said, there's no way that that's me. I said, I don't believe that that's me. Like, and it's crazy because I literally said to the director the other day, just because he flew down to the New York show that I did the other day, and I said the night before, and I was like, and like to kind of like shorten it, I said to him, I was like, thank you for allowing me to see what other people see in me, like, because I feel like watching the video back, like with We Could Be, it was the first time I saw myself like as a star, if you feel me. Like it's the first time like I feel like I watched something like, you know what, kind of thing that's going after these people in the main space. Like I'm completely independent. Everything we do is an independent, but I'm not on a major. So to say that we've got the quality of the song where it is and we're completely independent it's bewildering to me. It's absolutely bewildering, but it's such an incredible. I had to just express that love to him, and it's been incredible. And ever since that moment that video has dropped, my life has it's crazy because I can't wrap my head around the fact that my life is changing. So like, Vinny, just stop saying it now. You're annoying us. And I can't help but say it because it's like I'm living my life and I'm watching it change. It's like it is such an incredible feeling. Incredible.
I love that. I love that. I think your story is amazing. To the point where, but we can talk for like 9 hours, man. You know what? We need to do like a proper podcast. I can't even like when you're back in ends, let me know. But
yeah, man.
We're gonna do, because we've got less than a minute, so we're gonna do what normally when I have less than 3 minutes, I'll do less than a minute. I'll normally do the last questions on Instagram. So I'll just tag you on it and then you can respond through there. So for everyone who's locked in right now, obviously, War FM radio hours, I can't go in for as long as I want to sometimes. I'm sorry, guys. But but listen, up next, listen, we've got Vincent Darby's new tune. We Could Be will be playing up next. Birmingham's finest, hottest artists in the streets. And listen, I can't wait to hear more from you.
Been tuned into the Streets Session with your boy Firahs and
Joe MK.
Why is this the name of our show, bro?
Because we're the hottest in the streets.
Catch us online, on the go, and on the FM.
Okay, let's go.